Assalamu alaikum habibtis and habibis all around the world. Salam Allah wa nisu salam salant ilaah haniga qaado iyo malaa'igtiisa. Horta maanta ani qasamani wado. Yeah. Some of my followers, dadka gabdha ay fiirsadaan, the girls that watch me have shared some stories. I am so sorry. Downtown Minneapolis, booliiskooda waawi ma dhamaato waawigood ma dhamaato waxay maqleen oo malana manaba waxaa rabta inaad duubto because labadii oolad markaan GVE ka bay soo asbaxeen. Allah musta'an. Qisada baan bilaabaynaa. So go grab your shah, go grab your bio. I gotta go grab my bio. We're gonna be back together. I look rough. I'm not even prepared for YouTube او جدين جخراني مدانيتي أروني إحيا إقرا نقضيا أني حيس إيو. Anyway, the story will be told in إنجليزية. Story of إنجليز بالو شيء دونا كستوريس جب أب صومال ناكو شيء ما هنا. قبل أني تحد هذا no judging, you know, no criticizing. بحارب قصة هذا her story to be heard and to be given advice. And أو أقل علسين basically. So أو أقل علسين محمد أنا إنسان باسمي لا إحساس باسمي لا جوجي. Because if you're not in the situation, you can't say I would have done this, I would have done that. Even if you are in the situation كنت أقول أحجرتها. Honestly, when it's so much أكتر صعدو, you can't do anything about it. But more of the story is قبل أن يطلعش هنا قصة هذا والله إني قتابت it really broke me. It really broke me. I always hear about stories like this, but never ever thought that like I'll be the one to tell one today. But anyway, let me go grab my water. هاي وصولا بني أنا نحاس وقبض بكيري ويناي وعارك هاي بسم الله. I'm reading from here, okay? I memorized at this point the story. هذا قبل وحياة story هذا قالده. I am so sorry about it. I'm also trying to make sure that my kids are sleeping and it's okay. ولا بيمني شيء وقت يلا دون كده نأجي فان ولا يتعنت لو تاكت بدوبة يوتيوب أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Anyway, قبل ما حدا هذا my name is M. هرتا story عم بفوراني بلا محدها هاي trigger warning حداتها هاي victim أما أو أكتاقف أو ساسي تكون عدي وحاجر وحلا لها counseling وحاجر وحلا لها therapy إنا أتكيستت أو إسكو قريست حنونك until it gets worse. It's not good. Always seek therapy whatever you go through in this life. Like if you have a headache, you take a medication for it, right? It's just like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought all these people into this earth and gave them the knowledge. Why don't you make most of it? Anyway, this story is very sad and it happens to a lot of women, not only Somali women, but it happens all around the world. And it's very, very sad and disgusting that our community does not acknowledge and our community does not put our girls first. Ameen, ameen, ameen. This girl says, my name is M. I am 25 years old. I am happily married. I have one child. Well, she says she has two children. Her first one is a baby girl who is 2.5 years old. And her youngest is the same age as my son, which is close to 10 months. I have been holding a secret for 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. that my husband doesn't know the whole truth, and some of my friends don't know who I really am. This story in qasadanit aan qarinoyo waxay ku gaartay. It got to the point that I had to cut my family off. So the reason why I'm asking you guys advice is that people are pressuring me to get back talking to my family. And please, before you judge me, she said that not everybody comes from a good family home. I don't want to associate with my family. And after I tell you guys my story, I hope you can hear me out. So she said that qof kasto binaadan kasto guri wanaagsan kama soo kaco, which is true. You know? Inaan ogaano waayo qofka before aan dulmansanin ama aad daansanin waa hooyadaada, waa aabahaaga, waxaasitna la jooji waayo. And she said that a lot of people are just saying that basically my kids are gonna be asked about it, then my kids are gonna curse me out and they're gonna beat me, I'm being disrespectful, that I will never taste Jannah. But little do people know what my family caused me. She said, to begin with the story, when I was the age of 4.5, my father started to molest me. At first, I didn't think much of it. Plus, he threatened me that no one is gonna believe me, and I was too young, so I didn't know what the hell was going on. The molestation went on. For those people who don't understand, aabihii ii dhalay aa igu bilaabay taabitaan. So while he was kept doing that, I grew, and the abuse didn't stop. When I was at the age of 7.5, my father started to have intercourse with me. What intercourse? Halaga wada, you guys? Abahayga ay ugu bilaabay naag inuu iga dhigto. So it went on for 2 years. And my mom lived in the same house. I have 3 siblings who were younger than me when this started. He would come in my room every night and do his thing to me and leave. I continued and continued, even told my mother, and she told me, Naya Amos, Abaha Wahasku Masubinoyo. I endured the abuse for so long. I endured it until I one day became pregnant with my own father's child. I remember like it was yesterday. The year before, I got my period. At 9.5, I got my period. At 10, I got pregnant with my father's child. My mom, when she found out that I'm pregnant, beat the life out of me like it was my fault. She said, "Dalla bata haninkeyga ada u dhiganaysay. Aabahaaga sidee uu noqotay naag I can't even say it in Somali. Oh my God, subhanAllah, you guys, I'm about to start crying. You basically are a whore. How dare you to steal my man from me? He gives you all the attention. He gives you money. He buys you things. He doesn't even look at me." And I looked at her in shock. I'm a child. She normalized this abuse for so long that she didn't do anything about it. And now I'm hearing from my own mother's mouth that I decided to be a woman for my father and I stole my father from my mom. So, you know, in America, when a 10-year-old gets pregnant, you get in trouble with the government. So my mother did what any other Somali ladies or any Somali family does in America. She took me to Somalia. need to have the courage to finish the story. She took me to Somalia. She told everybody that I was starting to hang out with bad people. I was starting to behave bad, and that I needed Dakan Elis. Dakan Elis. So for the next 9 months, my mom and me stayed in Somalia while I went through pregnancy, while I didn't even know what period was or what hormones was, and while watching the other children that is my age play outside while I'm cooped up in the house or have to wear baggy clothes because my mother couldn't protect me from her own husband, aka my father. 9 months later, I gave birth to a boy. My mom named him, and we came back to America. When we came back to America, she told everybody, oh yeah, I was pregnant when I left. So she basically talking about herself, that she was pregnant with my brother's son. Brother's son, waxaa laga wadaa cunuga ani aa dhalay ee ka dhigtay iyada inay uurkiisa ee qaaday before America tagay. I'm still in shock, you guys, this story. I don't know. So when we came to America, everybody congratulated her and all that. While there was me, who just went through a whole pregnancy and a motherhood and still don't know what is happening. Hard for me to comprehend, you know? So life, as I thought, was gonna go on. I guess to be a teenager. Since her husband did this to me and she gets to keep the boy, I guess to be a teenager. No. She forced me to watch my own child that I wanted nothing to do with. I always was angry at the baby and all that. I lost it, and I told her one time, if you keep forcing me to watch this baby that your husband forcefully put it inside of me, I will end the baby's life, kill the baby, and then kill myself. So she eventually stopped from making me watch the baby. I started going to school and start hanging out with certain bad people, and then start getting to drugs and stuff, until one day I met my husband in high school. We became a high school sweetheart. I hated my family's house. The reason why I hated it is my father didn't even stop the abusing. After I had the baby, he continued, and my mother kept letting him. She had the audacity to put me on birth control so I don't get pregnant with my father's child again, but let me endure the abuse. So at the age of 15, I met my husband. We dated for a year, then I got married, and then after that, I told him that I was being abused, but I didn't tell him what type of abuse that I was enduring in my own family's home. I just told him that I was being abused because there was also physical abuse. Juk Bali Garsinai. We got married without my parents' permission at the age of 17. After being married for a year or two, I got pregnant with my daughter. I was joyful. I was happy. But that came to short because, as you always talked about, she said, postpartum kiba igu dhacay awala rabe, because I look at my daughter and PTSD weli kama heal gareenin, mana qof uma sheeganin. Aninang shock baa qaaday. I went into a shock stage where I thought that my husband was gonna do the same thing to my daughter. I thought that was a normal thing. I constantly watch my child, watch my husband. I kept picking fight with him, arguing with him. I just became crazy. I eventually talked to my doctor, and then I got on postpartum medication. I was doing good. My baby grew up. I was in school. I was working. Me and my husband were happy with each other. I decided to block all my entire family. Fun fact, my brother's son, the child that my father put it inside me looks exactly like me and my father. The majority of the time, when people ask my mom, oh, gabadhaada ma jeclaan jirta markaa uurka lahayd, haa ee dhahdaa. But people don't know that's my child, that my father impregnated me. Even though the baby boy doesn't know that I am his mother, he reaches out to me and talks to me about life problems and etc. that goes on in the family, and how he misses me and wants to be back at home. But how can I break a little boy's whole entire life? He's only 13. How do I tell him, hey, I'm not your sister, I'm your biological mother, and your father is our father? Everything became overwhelmed. I just ended up blocking my little brother and changing my number and deleting my social media and going ghost and moving out of state after state. But recently, before family members ako boarding, before family members ako boarding. Oh, she said, I got pregnant with my son. This is basically would be her third child, but in her halal marriage, I have been watching you on TikTok and I seen how strong you are, but I admire and a little bit jealous of how you came over everything. Don't take me as a ayumanas. I'm not trying to give you evil eye, but I just want to know how I can move forward. I went through preeclampsia and high blood pressure due to family members calling my phone. I don't know how they find it, or calling my husband, asking me how I am such a bad daughter, bad sister, etc. The usual, how I'm gonna end up in hell, how my kids are gonna disrespect me, how my kids are gonna abuse me, and how I'm never gonna have a happy life. And you know that when a person like that is going through that, when they're pregnant, you're gonna have complications. So alhamdulillah, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy, but now after giving birth to my child, it's just that I feel like I'm living a double life. I don't know what to do. My husband is constantly asking me, like, why are you running away from your family? Your family is your family. Your mother's feet, under your mom's feet is where Jannah is. You need your father, you need your siblings. But how do I tell this man that I love and had 2 kids with that my own biological father was abusing me from the age of 4.5 until the day I met him, and that he impregnated me and had a whole baby with my father? That our daughter is not our firstborn. It's not my firstborn, but yet his firstborn. Everybody's still harassing me. I feel like just like ending my life. I don't want to live anymore. I'm trying to keep this as a secretive. All my friends always ask me how I'm just like clean person, how I come from the best family, how they were killed for my family. But little do they know, closed door, I was the person who was enduring all type of abuse, but nobody was to rescue me until I met my husband. So there, Mono, am I wrong for wanting to have a normal life after everything that has happened to me? Am I wrong for keeping this secret from my husband? Am I wrong for not telling anybody? Even when I wanted to tell the authority, my mother threatened me. Oh yeah, kumayehe, you bad witch. Basically, she said in English, you bad witch. You're trying to destroy my family. You came after my husband. And now you're trying to have the CPS take my children. I felt guilty. I felt bad. I thought I deserved to be raped, abused, and molested by my own father because I knew no better. As long as it wasn't happening to my other little sister, I took the abuse and I endured it. But the moment that I became a legal age, I left. So am I wrong for cutting my mother and my siblings and my deadbeat father off out of my life? And what do I do with these family members that's constantly harassing me and harassing my husband to why I should be reaching out to my mother, even though they know that she used to abuse the life out of me every time when she didn't get her way with my father. Abayo, thank you for... Wow, this is making me really cry. She said, thank you for sharing my story. Abayoyinka iyo abooyooyinka ugu xiriiro. Abayo waxaan ka rabaa waxaan ka rabaa inay advice gareeyaan. What do I do? Do I continue keeping this secretive to myself or tell it to my husband and to the rest of the family of to why I don't fuck with my mother? But I'm also scared, she said, I'm also scared that it can fuck up that 13-year-old boy who didn't ask for it, whose whole entire life could be flipped. I don't want him to be a drug addict. I don't want him to be on the street. And I don't want my little sisters, to go through the same hardship that I went through. But what do I do? Keep this secretive and take it to my grave? Or tell it to the whole entire family that is keep fucking harassing me? But I'm also scared that the moment that I tell my husband, ifuro, I'm scared that he's gonna divorce me. So what do I do? Abayo, when I read your story, I did not sleep. I did not sleep when I read this story. I have become skinny as fuck. Half of the stories that you guys send me, I know I said send me the stories, but I'm not ashamed of you guys. Abayo, listen to me. As a person who's been raped, who's been abused, who's been molested, you do not need to have a contact with your abuser, your child molester, the person who child molested you, the person who raped you. You don't owe them shit. You do not owe them shit. Okay? For your husband, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't give you advice about that. I hope the girls in the comments can give you advice. But when it comes to your mama dukes and your stupid abuser, no. Keep that shit far away from you and your children. Because if you tell your husband the truth and you guys divorce, once a monster is always a monster. You know how they say once a cheater is always a cheater? Once a qof oo ilmo u barto inuu molester garayo ama inuu la xoogo gabadhaadana uma soo maxaa la dhahay sheeg what is it called? he's not gonna stop for it. ومنحايو. There's the word. adiga cunugtaada aad dhashay qarwuusaasoo nuxuusaasoo babodowsid naftirkeeda uma naxaayo. Stay far away from those people. You know what you do with a cancer? When you find out a cancer, you don't let it spread out. They hurt you. Why do you wanna let them hurt your children too? I understand that you're valid, but the thing is, there's levels to this shit. We're valid too. I can never make my kids go through what my parents made me go through. I forgive them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I will help them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know what I'm not gonna do? And what you don't need to do? It's not that I abuse Grace because you're is gonna complain about you. So my sister, okay, from being a victim to a survivor. You're not a victim. Don't ever think like you're a victim. You are a survivor, okay? Alhamdulillah, you're still in this earth, that you did not let the shaitan corrupt your mind and told you to end it all. The first step is getting help. Getting help. Do not listen to this community that is so fucked up. Like literally 25% of our community is normal, but the other percentage, they're all messed up. They've been through abuse, whether it's a physical, mental, emotional, or financial. So maaladin waa lasoo bahdilay. So dad naxariis haynin oo wanaagna haynin kuma naxayo. Okay? Ninki so joog laga waay soo jiifa laga helaya. So right now you ran for your life. I'm not trying to have you or your child or your son go through the same thing you went through. So please get some help. Get some help. Because a open wound, you know, that cannot heal without a bandage, Vaseline. You gotta be a gentle with the wound. And life is all about like that. So Anaga as a victim, no, as a survivor, no more victim. As a survivor, we have to take the steps to healing, which is seeking therapy, talking to your doctors, do whatever it takes, taking a medication to manage it, because PTSD is real. PTSD is real. But Abayo, I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala no ku gargaro, ku caawiyo, ku garab taagnaado, and is there for you no matter what. Because Allah loves you. No matter what happened to you on this earth, inshallah, may Allah just build you a beautiful home in Jannah. Every pain that you endured, because that is sick to go through that at 4.5. I don't even remember what I was doing at 4.5. But kids don't forget abuse. They remember exactly what clothes they were wearing, what was the smell, what was the person look like. That's just sick. Your own father. That is not your father. Honest to God. That's a monster. I wouldn't even call him my father. Wallahi. But I love you. Ilah ku gargaar, okay? My advice to you is go seek help. Go seek help and stay far away from those people. Far away from those people. But anyway, ma'asalama until the next story, you guys. If you have a stories, qasidin wa soo dirsan kartiin. I will tell in English or Somali, however you want to, because we gotta be fair here. Bye.